We have time to talk about this. Abu Amara joins us right now. So does Matt Klink in our news center. Abu's a Democratic strategist. Matt's a Republican strategist. We welcome you both. Matt, I'll start with you because, like, the big picture politically in all of this, we know the last part there, the president saying these are the best poll numbers he's ever had. I'll just put up the average Trump approval rating here from our partners at DDHQ. And, you know, we know the president's been struggling, is the truth of the matter in the polls. And especially if you look at the end, we have highlighted these two shootings, American citizens who have died in Minnesota, Renee Good, the first arrow, and Alex Preddy, the second. And you see there the approval numbers have been going down, disapproval numbers have been going up, and he's just been in the low 40s there. So how do you see this president, as I said, as he tries to get our focus shifted to affordability today?
Yeah, thanks, Connell. Good to be with you. Look, the reality is that the approved, disapproved numbers, Donald Trump have never been an indicator of his success in doing, both politicking and in governing. What he is going to do, though, is, and he has talked about this, is when he is not on the ballot, there is significant Republican drop-off, and that costs Republicans in Congress. So he's going to go out and rally the base. He got 56% of Iowa in 2024. He's going to talk about affordable. Just because the media is covering immigration doesn't mean that's what the voters are primarily focused on. So about affordability, he's going to talk about what he's done in the economy, all the good things, and he's going to try to keep that strong and motivated and focused so that they vote. That's the reason he's starting in Iowa today.
I would ask you, I guess, Abu, to kind of reflect, because you're a Minnesota guy, on your state and whether these changes, this pivot from Trump, sending Tom Homan and taking this Greg Bovino out, seeming to sideline Kristi Noem, whether these changes in the meetings Homan is having in Minnesota today with the likes of Jacob Fry, and whether that's a positive, and whether that will shift of the focus and the spotlight off the state and off the issue of immigration onto other things, as the president seems to be trying to do.
Well, look, the president is backtracking. Obviously, ICE is taking a step back. Dialogue is always going to be good here, so that's good. But that's separate and apart from the fact that 6 in 10 Americans believe that the economy is weak. And so Donald Trump can be out there doing whatever he needs to do, but the fact remains the issue that he ran on, the economy, most Americans are not with him and think we are on the wrong track.
No, we showed that number earlier, Matt. Abu's right. For all this focus on immigration and I mentioned polling averages, but his numbers on immigration have come down. The economy really has been his calling card throughout his political career for the last decade, and he does have work to do there. I mean, forget everything or put it aside for a moment, all this, the talk of Minnesota and immigration. How does he get things turned around on the economy? Because at the end of the day being November's midterms, at least in the short term, that probably will be the issue.
Oh, no, Abu is absolutely right. Is the economy is going to be the issue that will be, really indicative of how well or poorly the Republicans do in the 2026 midterms. Look, talking about it is one thing. Do you think that the One Big Beautiful Bill Act can strongly in 2026? And again, the economics issues are very, it's what a family feels around the dinner table or in front of the TV, if they're, and what their kids are doing, et cetera. So again, doesn't change overnight. It took us 4 years to get to the place we are now, and Donald Trump has been president for 1 year. We've turned the table. Interest rates are coming down, but it's not fast. The consumers are angry, and they want change yesterday. So Donald Trump has to recognize that. That's why he's out on today, and he'll be out, I'm told, weekly from now for terms.
Yeah, he just said that I'd like traveling. I'm going to be traveling more. I think he's referring taking some pictures there with people in moments ago in Iowa. He's referring to traveling domestically as opposed to traveling for, to foreign countries and that kind of thing. So we'll see if that works. Now, you could say, and Abu, I'm curious to how you see this, that, Donald Trump doesn't have much on the line because it's the midterms and he's not on the ballot, but he knows, and he has said that he very much has a lot on the line. He has predicted, and this was before the latest developments in Minnesota, that if the Republicans don't win, he thinks he'll be impeached. How do you think Democrats view this? Is that the approach? A Donald Trump impeachment, you can pretty much count on it if the Democrats take control?
So it's not actually about impeachment. It's about a check on the Republican Party. Remember, Republicans control the House, they control the Senate, they control the White House. This is their economy. If they cannot solve the concerns of the American people in terms of pocketbook issues, this is not far left or far right. This is, can I pay for milk? Can I pay for eggs? Can I afford to send my kids to daycare? If those issues aren't concerned, there's going to be a check on this White House.
Matt, just before we go, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to keep the focus actually on the economy, heading up to the top of the hour of the speech. Doug Flynn's coming up in just a moment. I want to go through like confidence and numbers like that came in. But I do want to ask you one question, Matt, about immigration and specifically about Minnesota and how the president seems to have been losing support on that. The immigration approval numbers, I have those right here, bring them up from the telestrator, guys. And this is similar to what we were just showing. In other words, his disapproval on immigration lately has been going up, and his approval numbers have been going down there, 39%. What happened here? I mean, we've been talking about it every day. We talk a lot about the how. We talk about, because people supported his agenda coming in on immigration. They wanted to see the border closed. He did that. But something went wrong, and he started to lose the public support.
Yeah, Connell, those numbers are significantly different than the numbers that I'm seeing. And if you parse them out and look at it, Republicans overwhelmingly support what Donald Trump is doing. That overwhelmingly opposes it are single white women. They're like 90 to 91% on this. In fact, 60% of those same white women that it is acceptable to break the law to stop from forcing illegal immigration. So I would say those numbers, taking it in aggregate,
a lot of independent voters, though, Matt, I've seen also, just generally speaking, are not supportive of the way it's happening. Independents in general.
Lost some, but the American public overwhelmingly supports the deportation of illegal aliens, and a solid majority support deportating people that are in this country illegally. So that's the rub. And the other scenario is you have the orders of Joe Biden and the Democrats. So I'll have that with the Democrat any day of the week, and 6 day or twice a day. So the Democrats are for open border, weak immigration. They want voters because ultimately they hope those people become Democratic voters.
I know you want to say something, Abu, but it's got to be short. I want to move on to the economy. Real quick thoughts to close out.
Look, Donald Trump has diagnosed the problem, but his remedies the American people reject, whether it's on immigration, whether it's on tariffs. He's diagnosed the problem, but his solutions, the American people disagree.
Abu Amara and Matt Klink are both with us. We thank you both. We're watching the president. We'll have his remarks in full live when they come up.